Om. 126th verse of Vivekachudamani. Yo vijanati sakalam jagrat swapna sushuptishu buddhi tadvritti sadbhavam abhavam ahamityayam. The person who knows everything or who has cognition, who sees things, who understands things in Jagrat Swapna Sushuptishu. Yaha Sakalam Vijanati. A person who understands everything in Jagrat, waking state, Swapna, dream state, and Sushupti, deep sleep. Buddhi Tadvrittihi Satbhavam. In that person, the mind or the feelings or the cognition, all these things are present in the waking state. In the dream state, your body is not present, and in the deep sleep state, nothing else is present. So you don't know that you exist in dream state, a dreamless state, deep sleep state. So what happens is your mind gets dissolved. So only thing which is present there is egoism, aham, and that too after you get up from deep sleep, you understand that you had a good sleep. So this is what is being told here, that we have to concentrate on the person who sees all these things, who witnesses all these things, not the phenomenon. There is a text called Dridrishya Viveka, the discrimination or discernment, Viveka, between the seer and the seen. We see objects, but what is our true nature? Our true nature is not of the object, of the seen, but of the seer, of the person who is experiencing everything. That is our true nature. So that is what here also it is told. Then Shankaracharya says, Yaha pashyati swayam sarvam yam na pashyati kaschana yaschetayati buddhyadi na tadyam chetayatyayam. Yaha pashyati swayam sarvam swayam pashyati. A person who oneself sees everything, but na pashyati kaschana, but nobody sees that person. Nobody sees that person. And that person who illumines the intellect, etc. Chetayati buddhi adi. Buddhi is intellect, mind, etc. That person chetayati gives consciousness or cognition to these different parts, but that person is not illumined. Na tad ayam chetayati. That person is not illumined. So in a tube light, what happens? Tube light gives light, but that light also illumines tube light. In an empirical world, the source of light, say there is a candle, it will illumine the candle also. But in our case, all that we use, external sources of light or even our mind, etc., it illumines only the external objects. You cannot see yourself. You can only see outside. So that is the manufacturing defect of our personality. That is why in the Upanishad it is told, Paranchi Kami, what is that? Vyatranat Swayambhu, Tasmat Parang Pashyati Na Antaratman, Kaschit Dhiraha Pratyagatmanam Aikshat Avritta Chakshuhu Amritatvam Ichcham. So some people, Kaschit Dhiraha, some people of steadfast mind, they want to see Pratyagatman. Pratyagatman means, Pratyak means that which is indwelling. Atman that is there inside everyone. They want to see that. And so what do? Avritta Chakshuhu. They turn their gaze inward. They turn their look inward. And then Amritatvam Icchan. And they want to attain immortality. Immortality.
आपका जो अभी एडिटोरियल है इनवर्ड गेज
वो इसी को लेकर ही है सब कुछ. So they turn the gaze inward and they want to attain immortality. Mortality not in the sense of this body not dying, but immortality in the sense of understanding one's true immortal nature, which does not have any end, which is imperishable. Why is that necessary? Because you are just seeing the things which are being cognized. You are not seeing the thing, the person who is cognizing it. We see the book, but we don't see the person who is seeing the book. So, yanna pashyati kaschana. That person is not seen by anybody. Anybody here means not many people try to see that. Very few people. Very few people. In Gita it is told that sahasranam manusyeshu kaschit etati siddhaye. That among thousands of people or lakhs of people, sahasra means thousands, so thousands of people, some people try to attain perfection. Yatatam api siddhanam kaschin mam veti tatvatah. But even among those who try to get perfection, very few actually attain perfection or attain the knowledge of their true personality. So here also that everything is seen by a person, but how many of us try to see the person who is seeing this? In psychology there is a term called reflexivity. Reflexivity means what? Any system, it is there in sociology also, any system which tries to understand its own self. So a person, if that person is reflexive, in grammar also it is there, myself, reflexive pronoun it's called, myself. So that means I am referring to myself. So this referring to oneself or turning back to oneself, that we have to do. And that if we try to do, then only we will understand who is it who is seeing the things outside, or who is giving consciousness, or who is giving cognitive skills to things. We think that it is because of the brain and the mind, etc. No, it is not true. If it were true, what happens? A person has got all the hardware, a person has got all the equipment, but the person dies. What equipment did go from that person? Nothing. You may say that the heart stopped beating, but till now no science has found out why did that heart stop. You may give so many reasons, but they are all reasons nonetheless. Why did it stop beating at that moment? What was there which is not there? So that is the identification of a person with the body. That identification goes away. The moment that identification goes away, then the body becomes, from he or she, it becomes it. The body becomes some object. It is no more a person, then it's an object. Why? How does it happen? Because of not having that person or not having identification with that person who is giving consciousness to things. That is what is told, yes chetayati buddhyati. Our brain, our mind, everything is given consciousness, is made conscious by Atman. But for Atman, the same things will be there, but it will be unconscious. Na tad ayam chetayati, na tad yam chetayati ayam. And but that is not, cannot be illumined. Nobody can give light, unlike all these external sources of light, nobody can illumine Atman. Our true self we cannot illumine, because it gives light to everything. Nobody can give light to it. It is beyond external objects. So this concept of understanding ourselves, contemplation, how do we do it in practice? By contemplating, by thinking of the mind, by studying the mind. If we do that, if we give some time every day, say 1 hour or 2 hours to studying the mind, to understanding who we are, then what happens? We will go through suffering, or we will get happiness, but then we will know the true nature of happiness or suffering. We will know the true nature of happiness and suffering. In body also what happens, the moment you know what an ailment is, immediately you can handle that ailment better. The moment you know that, oh, this is why this has happened, you can handle it better. Similarly, in mind also, if you know why something is happening, you can handle it better. So all the suffering and pain, whatever happens in our life, is because of attachment. Because we think we base our identity or our existence on that particular event or the particular perception by somebody else. That is why we get so much suffering. But if we were totally unattached, yesterday one Maharaj was telling an incident of a Swami of our order. So this Swamiji was the in charge of a particular center of our order, and he had made lot of buildings, etc., etc. So one big building he had made, and he was taking rest. So one day afternoon, and somebody went and told Maharaj, you get up, because in this building there is fire. So fire, it has got fire, so you get up. So Maharaj said, why should I come? What will I do? Will I go and put water? You call the fire people. So that building he had himself got constructed, etc., etc. But he said, no, I am taking rest. You call the people, you inform police, whatever you have to do, do. What will I do? If I go, will I put water on that? So then he went and again he took rest. And then afterwards he came out, and then he went to the building and he saw what is the damage and all that, and he ensured that everything has been done. So the Swami who went to call him, he was totally surprised, amazed at this kind of non-attachment. The building he made, but usually what happens? We have this thing that this work has been done by me, or this work has been done, so now what we should do. If you think of it, there is nothing you have to do. Everything will be taken care of. There are people and all that. But we get upset. And then, so that Swami says that this person is so non-attached, I was just wonderstruck. Same, of course, we know of another incident of Sharat Maharaj, Swami Saradanandaji. Once you know this incident. Once he was crossing Ganga, he was staying in Udbodhan, and he was going to Belur Math, or he was coming from Belur Math, whatever, and he was in Ganga, and in Ganga the the tide came.
Dr. Kanji Lal Kesar.
Tide came, and then the boat was about to get capsized. So everybody was jumping and all that, and Maharaj was having his hookah, Swami Saradanandaji. Then a person, and everybody was jumping here and there. Then a person could not take it more. He took his hookah and threw it in Ganga. And he said, what is this? Everybody is upset. He said, what will I do? If the boat turns down, I will anyway drown. And if it does not, I will be escaped. So what should I do now? Why are you jumping and all that? So most of the times it is like that. Or almost all the time it is like that. There is nothing we can do. But we jump and we get problematic, and our mind gets depressed, etc. Why? Because we consider that event to be our true personality. So people who give some time to study themselves, they understand that that is not so. And over a period of time, by doing this practice again and again, you understand what you are. Then what do you understand? You understand this. Shankaracharya says, Yena Vishwamidam Vyaptam Yam na Vyapnoti Kinchana Abharupamidam Sarvam Yam Bhantam Anubhatiyayam. Then you understand your true personality. And what is that? Yena idam vishvam vyaptam, by which this universe is pervaded. That means in this universe everywhere that is there. What is that? Our true nature, self, Atman, Brahma, that is there throughout the nature. Brahman is there throughout this nature. Isha Vasyam idam sarvam. Isha Vasyam. Vasyam means you have to. Isha Vasyam idam sarvam. In the Ishavasya Upanishad, this is the first mantra. This whatever you see, that has to be Ishavasyam, that has to be covered with God or with the Atman. Ishavasyam idam sarvam yat kincha jagatyam jagat. Whatever is there, impermanent in this world, everything is impermanent, that has to be covered. So, yena vishvamidam vyaptam, the whole world is covered with that one entity. Why? Because that entity is seen as this world. There are not so many things. One entity, one divine principle, that is because of our ignorance seen as so many things, so many names and forms and manifold nature, that we see that because of our ignorance. So it is covered means what? Only that entity is there, and that we wrongly perceive. And yamna vyapnoti kinchana, but that entity cannot be pervaded or overpowered by anything. It is not possible. Abharupamidam sarvam yam bhati. All this whatever we see is shining or is illumined, is reflected, is known because of Abharupam, because of this Abharupam, this form of shining or light, different kinds of light we see because of the light of Atman, because of Atman's existence, or because of Atman is there. And because of that we see all these objects, we see life, we see non-life, we see people, we see higher manifestations of intellect, lower manifestations of intellect. Why? Because of different kinds of perception based on the basic perception of light. That perception of light which we get, where do we get it from? We get it from Atman. We get it from Atman. So yam bhanti anubhati ayam. Because of its shining, everything shines. Now this is there in various Upanishads in different forms, that because of it everything else shines. When we sleep, we have a light, but nobody puts tube light or anything in our dream. What light does it come from? Where does it come? That light is actually created by our mind. Where does that mind get that light from? Nothing, it is there inside. So there is no external source of light. And even when you don't sleep, when you are in deep sleep, you have this idea. Nobody goes to deep sleep and dies. It does not happen. So deep sleep you are there, and then you have the idea that after deep sleep you come out and say that I slept very nicely. Why? Because of this consciousness. So this consciousness, whatever it is, which cannot be properly described, which can only be experienced, this consciousness is the reason why we see so many things. One thing in Vedanta we should never forget is the example of snake and rope. If you understand this example of snake and rope, you understand entire Advaita Vedanta very simply. What is the example of snake and rope?
Mistake a rope for a snake.
No, there is a dark room. In that there is a coiled rope is kept. And a person comes and stumbles upon that rope and thinks that rope to be snake. And when a person thinks a rope to be snake, immediately all the reactions of Seeing a snake comes, you feel afraid, your heartbeat starts increasing, and then you start sweating, you want to run. All these experiences are there. At that moment, they are all real. At that moment, they are all real. And then you see the rope, and then you try to drive away the rope, thinking it will be snake. Will it go away? It will not go away, because it is not a snake. And you try to read some mantra, or you try that bean, Saam ke aage bean bajao aap. Will that snake go away? No, because it is not a snake, it is a rope. Then you feel, you tell that it is not, snake is unreal. Then why does it feel so real? In Vedanta, the first objection is that you say this table is not real, this floor is not real. Then when we touch it, why does it feel so real? Because it is real, not as table, not as floor. As Brahman, as consciousness, it is real. Similarly, when you try to drive away the snake does not go. And the Jnani says that the snake is unreal. Then the person may say, what are you foolish? Snake is not unreal. You see how real it is. Snake is not real, rope is real. So this is the crux of Vedanta. That whatever we see, whatever we perceive, all these things are real not as what we perceive. As Brahman, as the divine principle, as consciousness, they are real. Once you understand, then everything falls into place. That is why Swami Narasimhananda, towards the end of his life, almost last message he said was, Brahma Satya Jagat Satya. We generally say, Brahma Satya Jagat Mithya. Jiva Brahmaiva na aparaha. That Jiva and Brahman, the ultimate reality, the ultimate truth, or the ultimate divine principle, consciousness, and the embodied soul are not different. There is no difference between this. But Turiyanandaji said, Brahma Satya Jagat Satya. That this world is also true and Brahman is also true. That means what? Not that the world as we see is true. No, it is not true. But world in its actual entity is nothing but Brahman. World as consciousness is true. There is no Jagat without Brahman. So you add ignorance to Brahman and you get this Jagat. So if you remove ignorance, you will have only Brahman. That thing we have to understand. And once you understand that, you will understand everything. So again Shankaracharya says, Yasya sannidhi matrena dehendriya manodhyaha vishayeshu swakiyeshu vartante prerita iva. Yasya sannidhi matrena. This example also has been given in Upanishads in different ways. Yasya sannidhi matrena dehendriya manodhyaha. Deha Indriya. Deha means body. Indriya means sense organs. So we have organs of action. We have organs of sense or organs of knowledge. Jnanendriya, Karmendriya. Indriya means organs. Deha Indriya. Mana Dhiya. Dhi means intellect. Mana means mind. So you may die, but again from birth to birth your mind will carry the same impression. From across births, mind will carry impressions. They are called sanskara. And so you may die, but the same mind will, the sthula sharira will go away, mind will be there. And then you will have to take different births according to your sanskara. So dehendriya manodhiya and intellect. Vishayeshu swakiyeshu vartante. They swakiyeshu vishayeshu vartante. They act in their own respective field. For example, eye is there. Eye will not hear. I cannot hear. Ear cannot taste. Okay. And tongue cannot feel. Skin will feel. So skin will work in the domain of feeling. Eye will work in the domain of vision. Ears will work in the domain of hearing. So this, in their own spheres, in their own department, they work. Vishayeshu, swakiyeshu vishayeshu vartante. How? Prerita iva. As though they are inspired. What happens? You have a government and the head of the government does not go on time to the offices. So nobody will come to the office. But then you suddenly find a person who is going on time to office. Then everybody is afraid, everybody goes to the office. In my office also, boss is there. Boss does not come to the office. Boss thinks I have become the boss, so I can come at any time. All the employees also do like that. In the Upanishads, the example is given of Raja also, a king. Here, it is like servants. Servants, what do? If they see the person who is their boss, just the presence, sannidhi matrena, just the presence of the boss makes people work. So all that the boss has to do is go on time and sit on the chair. So people may think that this is just nothing. If you go to all the traditional business families, they may be having a big cloth store, etc. But that Sethji will be sitting there, doing nothing. But that sitting there will create work. And nowadays what? You have this CCTV camera. And you have all that, so many feeds are coming. Most of the times, most of the cameras may not be working. But just the thing, the idea that camera is there and Sethji is watching us, just sannidhi matrena, that is sufficient to make people work. Here that example is given to show that just by the presence of consciousness will be always present. Consciousness cannot go away. Sat Chit Ananda. It is Sat means always existing. It will not die, it will not perish. But for explaining to us, it is told that when it is present, everything will act. Everything, all our body, mind, everything will act because it is inspired, motivated by the presence of consciousness. So what we have to understand is, we have to understand that consciousness. In a different example, Sri Ramakrishna says that if I go to Jadu Malik and I ask him if I want to know how much land he has got, how much garden he has got, etc. If I go and ask the garden, etc., then Jadu Malik may say, you see this garden. But if I go and make friends with Jadu Malik himself, then definitely he will show all the gardens, everything. So that is the difference. We have to first understand the consciousness. What is that which makes this body, this mind, everything work? You first understand that person. Instead of understanding body, mind, etc., you understand the person because of whom, or the spirit or consciousness because of whom body and mind works. So instead of understanding how much money or how much wealth Jadu Malik has got, first understand Jadu Malik himself. So automatically you will come to know about this. Instead of understanding the Aishwarya or the affluence or the splendor of God, you understand God itself. If you understand God, then all the other things will be understood. So, avritta chakshuhu amritatvam icchan. So we have to, turn inward. We have to concentrate on our true nature. Once we do that, then we will understand who we are, and then we will be able to go beyond suffering. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat.